Hey, Bikeaholics and listeners alike, the show is still going strong because of a lot of hard work and your support, of course. Thanks to all those loyal listeners and true friends of the show that have supported us or are supporting us. For less than a coffee a month, you can help support us too and put a little fuel in the law-abiding biker gas tank to make sure this show keeps moving on down the road. So, calling all law-abiding bikers, head over to our Patreon page and take action today. You can do so at lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. Oh, did I mention there's benefits too? From all your friends at lawabidingbiker.com, we appreciate each and every one of you. God bless and ride safe. And now, straight from the Law Abiding Biker Media Studio,
out of sunny Yakima, Washington,
we bring you another episode of the
#1 listen to motorcycle podcast.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
Oh, yeah. You guys ready to do this?
Oh, yeah.
We have got an awesome show. Welcome back, you freaking bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the Big MM, the motorcycle majority, also known as the
99%.
Jake Justice, all over it. That's right. You are listening to the Law Abiding Biker Podcast. That's right. Whether you like it or not, by listening to this, you are part of what we like to call the biker revolution. Do you want to try it, Lurch? We do have one question before we get started.
I never get this one right. You ask me every damn time.
What are you waiting for, bikeaholics? Mount up.
Let us take you on another wild-ass ride.
There you go. That's right, guys. Ryan Erlacher here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker Podcast, and your
high-tech redneck.
And you heard somebody you haven't heard in a while. Who is that? That is one Jake Justice.
The only. The one and only.
That's right, the one and only. Jakey, shout out. What's going on, buddy? It's been a while. It's good to have you in the studio. You signed up last minute to be here, so I appreciate it.
Wow, it's good to be back. I have a good time every time.
You going to chime in today?
Oh, yeah.
You got some thoughts?
Yeah, I have a lot.
Sitting heavy?
I always have a lot to say.
Can you tell us the story you were telling us earlier at dinner? No, I'm just teasing. No, we're not going to tell that. That's a personal family story. Okay. All right. And also, Lurchy in the house.
You ring.
Very nice. That was live, by the way. That wasn't my recording. That was very, very nice. And I don't have a tune. You know what? And we talked about that last time via Skype, somewhere deep, usually deep in the heart of California, deep in the heart of Iowa, from a secure location. Matt Pass. What up, Matt Pass?
What's happening? It's Iowa today.
Yeah, it is Iowa today.
And even more remote.
Yeah, you're the man, dude, for we appreciate it, because not only Matt Pass, you guys have all heard him. He's been a huge supporter of the show since all the way back to episode 1. We've had him on via Skype, and before, it adds a lot to the show and has a lot of knowledge. So we like to bring him on. And not only did he not do it from home, he's on the road for his job. He's doing it from Iowa, from a hotel room.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah. And he does it. He has his headset microphone, so it sounds just a little bit different, but it's clear and it sounds really good. We're coming in good. So, and with that said, I would like to, I'm hoping as we move along here, I have a couple other patrons. And of course, Matt Pass is a patron of the show. And I'm hoping that there's some knowledgeable patrons out there, as we see in the group. And so they know how busy I am. And so it's nothing personal. I really have some topics that I would like to get some other patrons tuned up and write in the podcast for I can think of one topic in particular, two topics. So patrons, and don't shoot me, because it's just simply because we're busy that I haven't been able to dial that in yet. But that's, of course, if they wanted to, because not everybody's comfortable. Matt Pass, he can handle this.
He likes to talk. Hey, I was thinking maybe Hans and Franz would be a good one for him. Like Hans and Franz, I'll bump you up. I see he's got his tough guy on over there. He's selling tickets to the gun show.
I just want to see him. I want to see Matt Pass when he meets us in person for the first time. You can deck Lurch. Will you do that so I can record it?
It might sound gay, but I want to measure those biceps, man. Those things look huge.
He's got some
It just
pipes.
depends on who's going to be first on the scene. I don't know. I don't know how much clout I have with you guys yet, so we'll have to.
Oh yeah, you got plenty. You got plenty of clout to do that. Oh, but we appreciate it. We got some awesome topics, and we brought Matt Pass on for a very particular reason because he's got some good insight. Lurch, why don't you just open up and tell him about a little diddy-do we got going on here?
A little diddy-do?
A diddy-do.
Which one am I talking about? The new bike?
Yeah, we haven't announced it on a podcast.
Oh, okay. Well, diddy-do is a term you've never used before, so when you say, tell us about the diddy-do, I'm looking up there at 3 different things. I'm not sure which one was the diddy-do, but
that's the way I roll.
Apparently the diddy-do is the opener. So right now, in possession of the Law-Abiding Biker podcast and media, we have a 2007 pewter denim Harley Davidson night train for sale. You've seen it in the videos. We took advantage of getting a decent deal on that from a buddy of ours, and we did some work on it, filmed it all. And now that we got all the video done, we got that bad boy up for sale. If you want to take a look at it and you're interested in a badass 2007 night train, take a look at lawabidingbiker.com/night train. It's got the 96-inch motor in it. It's fuel injected. That bad boy rips.
Have you seen the webpage I built for it? I'm going to pull it up here.
Of course I have.
Yeah, I thought you had. And so Lurch gave a little, it's just like a seasoned pro. Did you hear that, Jake?
Yeah, he could be a car salesman, even used car.
That was pretty nice, dude. I'm just saying.
Could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves.
What?
That was from Tommy Boy.
That's one for
Tommy
Jakey.
Boy.
He's on fire. He's only had 2 sips of whiskey too, and he's just on fire over there on the couch. It's been a heck of a day. So let me talk about this just a little history. So we acquired this 2007 night train, and really, guys, like Lurch says, lawabidingbiker.com/night train. We did a full article on it. There's pictures, tons of pictures on there, all the specifications, the prices listed on there. Of course, we did in true law-abiding biker style, a complete video explanation, walk around, a ride on it, a little fun video with some music. We acquired this from a guy we know. He's not involved with law-abiding biker media, but basically he was going through a divorce. And so I took it off his hands because it needed what we believe just a starter clutch. And that's pretty common for a 2007. That can happen, a starter clutch. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but it is something that can happen. And so we took it on because we needed to do a video on it. And so we took the bike on, and of course he gave us a break on the bike just because, we were guessing that's all it was. And we filmed that, and there is a video on that now. If you have a starter and it's making that sound, that whining sound, it's just not grabbing the starter ring gear, then we have a video for you, lawabidingbiker.com/starter clutch, and it will show you everything you need to know on how to fix that, to take the oil tank out, to get the starter out, to actually take the starter apart and put a new starter clutch in it, and then button everything back up. And we also put out a free oil tank removal video on it right on our YouTube channel on how to remove the oil tank from Softails and Sportsters and things like that. That's at lawabidingbiker.com/oil tank, I believe. If not, what can they do, Lurch?
Well, they can use the handy-dandy little search bar at the top right of every page and put in Harley Davidson oil tank or just oil tank, and it'll take you to the page that you need to go.
All right. Very good. And so that's all, guys. We just did it for the video. It is a clean little bike. Of course, we went through it with a fine-tooth comb and made sure everything was okay. It's got all oils in all 3 holes, brand new AMS oil. We just went through it more today. We did one more video today. Me and Lurch have been busy, and we only did it for the video, and we got more inspection out of it. This thing, I'm telling you, we have been through this thing. It's got good rubber. It's 18,000 miles, guys, and it's a pretty bike.
Road tested. Lab approved.
That's right. It has the lab stamp of approval. So obviously we'd like to get rid of it. We did it for the projects, and it's a fun little bike. And if I was rich, I would love to just keep it as a little side bike because I really don't want to get rid of it, but I don't have that kind of money, and I need to move it along to hopefully a new happy owner of the
18,000 miles. That's nothing.
Yeah, it is low miles.
Yeah, that's pretty low mileage.
All 3 holes.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's it is low mileage for a 2007. It's barely broke in, really. So if you know anybody down there, Matt Pass, in the California area, you let us know.
those night trains and any of those bikes like that, well, that's what everyone's riding out here. So that's I might be able to put some word out.
That'd be sweet.
Kind of project. You gotta take it on that link. You got the asking price on there and everything. Or are you gonna announce that on?
Oh, I'll announce it right now. It's on the page. It could change, but it's not going to go up. But it's at $11,500 right now. That's what we're starting price as $11,500, 2007 night train, clean as clean gets, running machine, and so that's where we're starting at right now. Mm-hmm.
Where's the fear of loss there, Ryan? Act now. In 2 hours, it's going to go up to 15,000.
Oh yeah, I should have.
You know what I mean? Come on.
See, I'm a shitty salesman. You're right. I am the worst frickin' salesman because I'm all like, I just want to make sure somebody gets a good bike. Yeah, dude, I should have. Yeah, goes up. That's just opener price. And yeah, you're right, dude. I could have totally did a better job. I should have had.
You provide your own shipping. Hey, $11,500. What okay.
Right. Exactly. And
have some side conversations about some sales stuff, right? We're gonna have to handle that. So
yeah, I'm passing that one off to you.
That's a good price.
And so obviously, guys, if you're interested, don't think you have to live near us. We will work out shipping, like Matt Pass just mentioned. We'll work out shipping. I don't even know. It's like have you ever shipped a bike? Anybody here?
No, I just ride them.
I've heard about it, but
apparently you can ship it to Sturgis.
Yeah, apparently you can ship it. Have you ever shipped a bike, Matt Pass?
I have.
Oh,
yeah. During the move. So, there's the different ways you can do it. I'd say the average price is about $600.
That sounds reasonable.
Now, there are freight companies that have open bids out there. You want to make sure they're pretty reputable and they've shipped bikes before, but basically you can get a pretty screaming deal if you catch a truck that's on its way back to the area. They have some open space. They weren't going to make any more revenue anyway, so they'll cut you a price at like $350 or $200 and toss the bike in there, and if they can adequately tie it down, you can get a pretty rocking deal. So it's a little bit of research, and you could probably get yourself a pretty decent deal if you're willing to wait 10 days to get it or something like that. So
there you go. And that's exactly why we're bringing Matt Pass on the podcast, because he can pretty much grab any subject and just he has experience and interject. So do you remember what company you used, Matt?
Well, there's always, I would say, be leery of it, but there is, I don't want to knock the companies, but there is freightquote.com, there is UShip, and within those websites, there's companies that have a specific vertical to ship things like Harley Davidsons and bikes and things like that, and that's going to be up to the carrier. So what happens is you go in there and you'll enter in what you want to ship, the weight of it, all that good stuff, and a company will grab a hold of it. I would say that's the time to do your due diligence and say, have you ever shipped a bike before? And then they'll win the quote. So basically, it's like lendingtree.com. You go and you enter your information, and the banks fight for your business. Same thing. All these freight companies are going to fight for your business. I would say the lowest bidder shouldn't always win, because what if they never shipped a bike before? And then so on and so forth. And there's also different issues when it comes to used items. They won't insure it properly. So you have to do a little bit of research once somebody bids on it and you like the price. But if you do that due diligence, you could get a pretty rocking deal.
Nice. Good freaking information.
Good info.
Awesome. Okay. So there you go, guys. If you're interested in that, we do have it. And of course, just hit us up. I guess I didn't tell you how to hit us up, but lawabidingbiker.com/contact. Just fill out our contact form. And from there, you can just title it, do the subject line, 2007 Night Train or something, interested or something like that. And of course, if we get serious about it, we can give you a call and stuff like that. So fun little bike. I'm telling you, Matt, Pass that thing. I know a lot of, like you say, a lot of guys down in California ride that thing. I love my Street Glide, but I've had Street Glide for quite a while. And then I had one before that. Before that, I had a Dyna. It made me feel about 10 years younger, Lurch. Lurch rode it too.
Oh yeah. My gray hair almost went away.
I don't want to go to Sturgis on it, and I don't want a long ride on it, but for just ripping around, it's so light. It feels like a freaking moped compared to my Street Glide.
It would be nice to have one just to rip around town on.
Oh, if I had the money, I would love to keep that bike, but ain't going to happen. Matt Pass has got money.
Yeah, if you won the hey, I just bought that new one. I don't know. I had to put a nice hefty chunk of change down, especially with that extended warranty out of pocket. So it was worth it.
So Matt Pass is saying what he's saying is he's broke like the rest of Harley owners.
Yes. Yes.
Welcome to the club.
I peeled off a bankroll for that. It was worth it though. So I can't argue. Those guys did a good job.
Well, that's awesome. We want to definitely talk about your new bike real quick. I just want to say this show has a couple sponsors, and we'd like to thank these particular sponsors and patrons. That's right, patrons of the Law Abiding Biker podcast and media. Who wants to go? Jakey, we haven't heard from you.
All right, we'd like to thank Jeff Jennison from Spanish Fork, Utah, Lou Ross of Cincinnati, Ohio, and Ron Levitt of Naperville, Illinois.
Top tier Ron Levitt is top tier, guys. That's right. For less than the price of a coffee per month, you too can help support the Law Abiding Biker podcast. That's right. There's no risk to it. You can put a monthly cap. Basically, you're pledging a certain amount per piece of content so that we can keep... I'll let you say this part, Lurch.
Putting a little fuel in the law-abiding gas tank and keeping that bitch running on down the road.
Because he coined that phrase. That's right. Take action, guys, right now. lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. Get the benefits. You also get benefits. That's right, guys. Over there, you can get in the private Facebook group. Matt Pass and other patrons are in there. It is growing. It's a great community. There are T-shirts available. And if you're top tier like Ron Levitt, you get exclusive access to any of our 4 purchase videos upon request. All right. They really are, guys, sponsors of the show. You said something else, Lurch, the other day. I think I was listening to the last podcast, which was the last one we recorded, or the last one that was out, and it was EITMS. Mm-hmm. And you said something about it's really like an allowance. Well, the patrons, really, it's like an allowance, a piece per piece of content. So it gives us a monthly allowance so that we know what that allowance is and we can operate within and provide services.
Yeah, it gives us a structure that we can count on each month, and we can make sure to pay for certain things, and we know what we can provide, and it just gives us a framework to work within.
Yes,
to provide our services,
like the streaming service right now.
Yep.
Like the servers, the app is all supported by patrons. The server fees, the audio server fees, the video server. We got servers and fees up our yin yang. Jakey, did you know that?
Is that anything like the ding dang or whatever the hell you said earlier?
Do you know what a yin yang is? Do you?
Up the ass?
He doesn't. Jake doesn't have his yin yang anymore. It's been broken.
Okay, that's apparently showing my age because that's what my mom used to say. Call it a yin yang. All right, enough screwing around. Time to get down to freaking business. Matt Pass. So I'll let Matt Pass talk about it a little bit. He was riding a metric, and I'll let him tell you about that metric bike. And then he switched over, and he has Harley experience in the past. I remember from talking to Matt, his father had a Harley Davidson, so he's not a stranger to Harley Davidson, but he went out and frickin' bought a Harley Davidson recently and posted it in the private Facebook group. So we're all really excited. So tell us about this. What was this something you were going to do for a while or what, man?
Well, yes and no, I guess. It's been, well, you know, I'm just a bikeaholic like everybody else, right? But I had been away from Harley for a little while, simply, you know, of course, at first it's economics, but motors. I've always been a big motor fanatic, right? And sorry if you heard that chime, that was my phone there. But I've always been a big motor fanatic, and it was a while back. I was probably 21 years old. My dad and I had I would say we built it from scratch ourselves, but we didn't. We had it built and then wrenched on a lot of it ourselves. A custom chrome kit bike with a RevTech 1600 in it, and from that day I was just ruined on you know anything under 100 cubic inches in general. So Roadstar, Star brand motorcycles, Yamaha specifically, started putting 1600 and 1700 cc motors in their bikes, period, right? Nothing under, except for their lower brands, like their 650s and things like that. But as far as their big cruisers, so that really turned me on to being a Star rider in general. I'm still part of the Star riding and touring group. You know, they welcome all makes and models within their riding group. Great bunch of guys, but that is what had gotten me away from, you know, brand new Harleys or anything in general. Was just, hey man, for the price and the customizability, you know, and I'll probably own another one, just like I've owned Harleys, and now I own another one of those. But what it did recently, and I say from about 2009, 2010 and up, Harley's really made a huge headway. And you'll remember not too long ago, Harley started putting the 103s in their bike, right? So when they started doing that, it turned my head again, right? 103 was an option. The CVO was an option, of course, the 110. But then they started doing stock 103s. So right around, I think that was 2013, 2014. The 103 became standard. I think it was 14. And
right.
I started turning my head. Yeah, it started turning my head towards Harley big time again. When you're starting to go with stock 103s in your bikes. So I've been looking back towards HD for a long time. And then just recently, I happened to be looking at motorcycles, and I made my way into Harley Davidson, and I went into Sacramento Harley Davidson, and I got to tell you, the staff there was phenomenal. And I love all motorcycle shops, but and you guys probably find this familiar. I'd say gun stores, music shops, and motorcycle shops all have one thing in common. You're going to walk into the store and you're either going to have a great bunch of guys or you're going to have egos galore, right? And, I'm not ragging on HD, Harley, or any in general, but we've all had that experience where we walk into somebody and it's nothing but egos. And I don't deal with egos very well, right? So, of course, when I walk in there, I'm preparing for, some egos or some, and things like that. But, but I was met with the best customer service ever, and that's really what kept me shopping. I got to tell you, and it was huge breath of fresh air. So it was great. So the guy who helped me out, his name is Tommy Bauer, sales guy in there. Really good guy, really good cat. He helped point out, he was telling me about the difference in the frames from 2010 to 2015, going on 2016, the difference in the different motors and how it's going to handle. And the only thing for me to do from the bike I was on is really go into touring. And we started on that conversation. And he brought me over to the bike that I now own. Right. And what was really great about that, and, just a little bit of background, as you guys know, I'm in sales management. I travel everywhere. I have a lot of experience in it. I got to tell you, the culture over there is done really well. He listened, and he said, you know what, this is probably the bike for you. This is what the price range you're wanting to stay around. And from there, it just sold me across all boards. But what really did it, too, was they had pointed out, and this was the final nail in the coffin, the used inventory is about to be another year older, right, in a few months, right? We're going into 2016, so these older models are going to be another year older. So they had knocked off, another couple thousand. And I was just, they were killing me, right? The deal was just too good to be true. But I ended up pulling the trigger on, it is electric, Ultra Limited, Screaming Eagle. And I couldn't be happier. I got to tell you, it's like riding a stormtrooper bike, right? I'm just gliding through those turns, and I went from a bike that I had lowered, a bigger front wheel on it, looking real cool, to this bike, and everybody's, of course I got friends ragging on me and stuff like that, but I'll tell you what, I am ready for Sturgis, I am ready for Colorado, I am ready to go cross country anywhere, and it's like floating. So I got to ask you this real quick, and then I want to hear more. We got some questions in the chat room, which is cool. Okay. Because I think Lurch will read some of them to you. But so you go down and you're looking at this bike, and then this guy, because I think I was texting you or something, I can't remember, but you said, "Hey, bro, this guy, he knows about the Law Abiding Biker podcast." Oh yeah, and you told him, tell us a story. You got to hear it. So everyone's like, what's your, they're taking out my information. He's like, Passalacqua, how do you, he looks at me, how do you pronounce that? I'm like, just like it sounds, Passalacqua, common spelling, and I, making jokes. I said, but I go by Pass. Everybody calls me Pass. The guy pokes his head around, he goes, Matt Pass. He goes, you're Matt Pass? I said, I don't know who Matt Pass is, but I'm him. I wasn't putting two and two together. He's like, you were on that podcast, and you guys were talking about the Texas incident, and you were talking about the Scully helmet. I was like, oh yeah, that was me. Yeah, I said, those guys are great. And I said, so do I get like 5,000 off or something now? I mean, is that great? I mean, if I tell Ryan to give you guys a plug, do I get like 16 grand or a bunch of coupons? So They're not giving us any coupons, but they did do a good job, so I appreciate you letting me throw them a bone here.
Hey, what the hell's a coupon?
A coupon. That's how you say coupon, in a joking way. It's coupon. So it's funny. That actually I can't actually get away from saying that now. I actually say coupon. I started by making fun of it, and now I just say coupon every time.
Oh, that's awesome. Did he? So did you talk further about the podcast? Like he said he listens to it regularly because he even announced the episodes that you were on.
Yep. They him and a couple other guys know all about it. He did ask me about some of the episodes and how to find them, and he was saying some of them were out of order, so we hopped on his little iPod and iPad and we went through them. And I told him I said I'll even throw you a bone if I get the chance. Actually, now I'm doing it. It's kind of funny, but yeah. So, and I talked to the guys in service about it. And I was actually over there yesterday. I was dropping the bike off because something had come loose. And I got to tell you, they treated me really well. And I got to tell you, the customer service, I'm just impressed with the way Harley Davidson has evolved over the past 15 years in general. I mean, I thought for sure I didn't have a due bill. And if those of you who don't know what a due bill is when you buy a vehicle or bike or anything, if there's anything to be done to it that they promised you, and you don't have a due bill, you usually go into service and they go, oh, well, you don't have a due bill. So I walked in there and I bought the bike, 3 weeks ago. And I said, hey, I bought it on a Sunday late. I was told I was going to get a tank of gas, a detailing, and all this good stuff, and all this other stuff that was supposed to be done. And they said, okay, yeah, no problem, which is unheard of. I thought for sure they were going to tell me, well, you should have came in the next day. But, good for them. I mean, I got to tell you, go to Sacramento Harley Davidson. They really treated me good.
No, that's awesome. We love getting shout outs like that. And you're right. Definitely improved over the years. They realize they have to do that to compete because a lot of people want that experience instead of just going in, and being treated, like crap and stuff like that. So you traded your Roadstar in, right? Is that what you said? You traded
I didn't trade it.
Okay, you didn't.
I didn't trade it, but I sold it. So, yeah, okay. So I did. So these poor sales guys, they worked with me, right? So I'm in there on Saturday, and my girlfriend didn't help. I mean, she's probably everybody's dream. I walk, and she's pissed that I didn't buy the bike. She's hounding me the rest of the night, saying, hey, honey, you work hard. Why don't you go buy that thing? And later on that night, I really wish you would have bought that thing. You deserve it. I'm like, where do they make you? Where, you know what? You better be careful. I'm going to marry the crap out of you. You better be careful. You know what I mean? I'll show you. Right? So I call them up the next day. I'm playing with numbers in my head, and I tell them, I said, hey, if I put this much down, and they're running numbers with me over the phone on a Sunday, right? It was after church, and those guys are running numbers. They're calling me back. They're and not being pushy at all, and I'm making them go through the ringer, and they're just doing it with a great attitude. And they say, well, bring down your bike as well, and we'll see if we can get you even extra for some trade. I hadn't planned on trading it in, so I took it down there, and I thought for sure they were going to give me hell, try to over push me on trading in the bike. He goes, hey, this is the amount we're going to give you for it. And I said, you know what? No, it means more to me, and I like it more than that. I have more fun on it than that dollar amount, so I'll just keep it. They went, all right, no pushy, no ragging on me. Why would you want to keep the Yamaha? He goes, hey, good for you, man. When you're done doing all you want to do to it, let me see it. And I thought that was impressive as well. Like I said, I don't do well with the ego thing, but that was really good of him. But I did sell it literally. I put it on Craigslist, and it was gone a day later. So it was last week. It was right before Street Vibrations motorcycle rally. A guy wanted it, and he wanted to go to the rally. And we came up with a deal, and I gave it to him. So.
Dude, you got to put this night train on Craigslist down there. Holy cow, man, that's quick.
I'm telling you, it was good. I was asking a reasonable price, and I took less than it than I wanted to, but at the same time, it was a quick sale. The money was decent. It was a decent offer, and I actually ordered some Paul Yaffe. And those other bikeaholics probably know who Paul Yaffe is, a custom bike builder. He's in the Hall of Fame now out of Arizona. I ordered some custom 16-inch Paul Yaffe ape hangers, pre-wired, and I didn't even install them. And I gave that with the bike. So he got a pretty screaming deal. That guy got a pretty good deal. He got some custom apes and everything. They were pre-wired. They weren't installed, but he got them. So
well, that's cool. Yeah, I think I saw a picture of that. You had sent a picture of it or something with the Paul Yaffe bars. Yeah. Maybe that was in the private Facebook group. I can't remember.
Yep. I had posted the ad, thinking if anybody was interested. But yeah, it didn't take long at all. So it's a really good bike. I got to tell you, it's going to take an act of Congress to get me away from big touring motorcycles now. And I slowly but surely, you go from a dragster bike, then a bike with some saddlebags, then I went to a bike with a windshield on it, then from a windshield I went to a fairing. It's been these gradual steps, and I got to tell you, I'm spoiled now. I will never go back. And not to discredit Harley Davidson or anything, but I was actually going to wait. Yamaha's been rumored that they were going to come out with a new touring bike, the Ventura, with like the 6 or 7 gallon gas tank and and everything else. And I've been waiting, and I've been a loyal guy, and it just didn't come out. But the asking price for the bike, the warranty, the staff, what I experienced, it was too good of a deal not to pass up, and I couldn't be happier.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. And did you say the color of it yet?
Yeah, it's red and black. I'm sure there's a fancier name.
Yeah, right.
Red and black.
Nuclear cherry or something like that.
Nuclear cherry, jet stealth black or something. If anybody wants to see it, the pictures are there on the page. So it's beautiful. And I think that I wanted to ask you guys too, because I don't know if any of you have done it. I went ahead and pulled the trigger on that unlimited 5-year warranty with tires and wheels. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I went ahead and pulled the trigger on that. It was pricey, but I have to tell you, that was a huge selling point for me because this bike had some miles on it. It didn't have 150,000 miles on it or anything, but that was a selling point. I mean, they were asking a decent price, and when I tagged that warranty onto the price, it still wasn't bad. I was still right there at MSRP. But I didn't know if you guys have had any experience with that, if you've ever used it, if you'd have purchased it, because I'd love to talk about that a little bit and love to get everybody else's feedback because I'm excited about that damn warranty. I'm using it right now. The bike's in the shop, so
yeah. Well,
know if anybody else has feedback on that.
Yeah, go ahead, Lurch. You got something to say on that?
I bought it on my Y-Glide, never had to use it. I did not buy it on my Street Glide. I bought that Street Glide used and decided not to buy the warranty.
Oh, I didn't know that. You didn't have that on it. Oh.
No, that was a used one. I decided not to get it and lucked out, never needed it. And I just bought that 2015 Road Glide and decided to buy it. And dealing with the guys here at Rattlesnake Harley, the sales manager was able to give me a little bit better deal on that warranty as well because I was wanting to work a deal on parts if I ordered some parts, and the parts manager wasn't there. And in order to facilitate the deal, he was able to tweak the price on the warranty with me to kind of make it up. So I bought it. I don't know. It's got all kinds of warranty for tires and everything like that and towing. And, if you blow up a motor in that thing, it's going to cost a lot of money. So I think for the small amount it's cost me each month, I decided to go ahead and do it. So I've never had to use it. I think, has Rob used his,
No, and
No, that wasn't a warranty issue?
No, it wasn't. And I have had them on all my Harleys and never once had to use the damn thing. Never.
And that's what I kept hearing, and I had mixed emotions about it. And the way I felt about it was, you know what, if I plan on doing a lot of riding the next few years. I mean, that's the reason I pulled the trigger on the big touring bike in the first place. I'm doing Sturgis next year. I blocked out the room already. Really excited about that. So I'm staying in Deadwood.
Yeah. You got to hook up, Matt, because I don't know if I'm going to go to Sturgis. We're probably going to do a different ride, but I still know Jeff is going down, and I think Popeye's going to make an appearance there, so you can probably still hook up with some of the guys. Remind us.
Yeah, and most definitely. And I got to tell you, I just figured if I get stranded once or blow out a tire once and they pay for my hotel, and that's what was a selling factor there too. They reimburse you for hotel stays if they don't have the part you need and you're out of town. Basically, and I forget how many miles away from home it is, but if you're a certain amount of miles away from home, something happens on the bike that's covered in the warranty, covers over 1,100 parts. And then I added tires and wheels to it. If there's a certain amount of tread on it, blows out, say they don't have that rim in stock and they have to order it. Your hotel room is covered up to $150 per night. Your food is covered up to a certain amount of hundreds of dollars per day as well. So that was a huge selling thing for me because I do travel a lot for work. And if I'm ever on the bike or anything like that, that's a huge selling point for me. I don't know if I'll use every dime that I ever spent on this warranty, but I got to tell you, it was like you guys were saying. They tweaked the price a little bit to where it didn't cost me that much compared to MSRP. So I felt it was worth it. But that was a huge selling point. I mean, just the tires alone was great. So I didn't know if anybody else had ever had any experience with it or used the warranty in general. I've heard people use it and they say, yeah, it was great. God, I'm so glad I bought it. And other people go, I never use it. I'm not going to buy it again. So I don't know. I did it this time. Don't know if I'll do it next time.
Even though I've never used it, I always get it because, like you said, there's going to be that time I don't get it, and it's going to be some just weird factory defect in the transmission or something, and that's going to be me. Jake, how about you?
I didn't get it, and for me, it was a...
Are you serious?
I was right at the edge of...
He's going to be that guy.
At the edge of my...
You're going to be that guy.
I am.
He'll be riding bitch on one of our bikes.
You know what he thought? You know what Jake thought? You know what? I'm part of the law-abiding biker crew. If it breaks down, them fuckers are going to fix it for me anyways.
Fix my bike. I'm golden.
I didn't refer to you as them fuckers, but that thought went through my mind. Now, really, for me, it was the money. I was at the edge of my budget, and I had to make a decision.
Yeah, and it is.
I would love to have it because it would be peace of mind, if nothing else.
Right. No, that's good to know. I didn't know you didn't get it. It becomes, we all got budgets, family budgets to stay within. So,
Yeah, I got to tell you, if I was probably peeling off money to buy this same model brand new, it would have been in the $30,000-ish, $30,000 if I bought this same model in a 16. I don't know if I'd be adding, more money to the price of that bike. So, you definitely hear you on that one. But luckily, since it was used inventory, about to be a year older, they were able to play with that, and it was worth it at that time. But I would say that I also see some disadvantages to it. I can't just go and install my own bars if I want to. I can't put an aftermarket stereo in there if I want to. In fact, I don't want to get those guys in any trouble for saying so, but...
Did they tell... Hey, I'll stop you there. Did they... Hey, Matt, not to call that.
No, okay, go ahead.
Did they tell you that you can't install bars on a warranty? Because that's wrong.
Oh, no, it's not that... I can have them do it.
Okay.
Right?
No, there's some Harley dealers that believe that, and I don't think they're doing that on purpose. But actually, the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act and all that, they can't void your. And again, it varies from parts of the country, but here we do all that stuff, and it doesn't void our warranty. We can still take it in, and we've had guys do it. It doesn't. I know that's a touchy subject because then they probably.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to get them in trouble. So
right.
I know I got a phone call today too, and he said, it's like you had the stock stereo in there because now it's covered under warranty, right? And what they had discovered, and that's why I want to tread lightly too, because if their boss is going to...
No, they're right. I mean, if you put an aftermarket stereo in there, they're not going to warranty an aftermarket stereo.
Okay, and maybe that's where we're splitting hairs is because you can put aftermarket exhaust. Of course, they're not going to... They're not going to...
They won't warranty your exhaust, but it's not going to void your motor.
Yeah.
Right, it's not going to void your transmission problem.
Right.
Are we on the same sheet?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm confused. All right, that makes sense. Yeah.
So he did discover, and I didn't know this when I bought the bike a few weeks ago, and neither did they. So they pulled an honorable too. He said, "Hey, someone installed a aftermarket power amp, and aftermarket speakers in here." He goes, "Don't worry, we're just going to disconnect all that, and no harm, no foul." So we're just basically they pulled an honorable because honestly, any other dealer under the guidelines of the warranty could have said, hey, there's aftermarket power in here and you're having an electrical issue. You're pushing power that's not supposed to be pushed here. They absolutely could have said, hey, we don't know if you installed this, and they didn't do that. And I would say that's really honorable for them. So even if they get in trouble for it, I'll help you guys fight that battle all day long. That was a really cool thing for you to do for me. So
that's sweet.
Service department over there in Sacramento Harley. So
couple questions, Matt. Well, first of all, with a CVO, it's probably good to get that warranty because there's a lot of aftermarket stuff on those CVOs that are pretty expensive. But
custom vehicle operations,
the custom
right?
Stuff. But what? Two questions. One was from me. What year was that bike? And then two was from Chris Lizak in the Lizak. Sorry, Chris, in the chat wing. He was wanting to know what made you fall in love with that bike. So, what year is it, and what made you fall in love with it?
Well, it's a 2011, and so I've been doing a lot of tandem riding. Right, I've had my girl on the back of it, my other bike a lot. Like I said, that sucker was lowered. Right, we were scraping frame and scraping metal a lot. I had my neighbor who builds custom motorcycles raise it up. He put 1,000 pounds suspension in it. It's single shock. Which is okay, But at the end of the day, it wasn't built for touring. So the moment I drove that sucker, or rode that sucker, excuse me, listen to me cursing.
You sound like Chewie.
The minute I rode that sucker, and she sat on the back, that was it. It was over, right? The weight difference, and I'm 240 pounds, right? And you had another passenger on there. It's a double shock system in there. It was definitely the ride. It was definitely the ride, and the turns. It's a complete difference. Now the other bike, don't get me wrong, if it was just me on it all day long, wouldn't have spent a dime. I owned it outright, had the pink slip, but the Ultra Limited and the power, holy crap, the power and the performance. So power, performance, and handling. That's what made me fall in love with the bike. And the color's cool.
Oh yeah, it's a good looking bike. What is that, a 110 then?
No, it's the Screaming Eagle 103.
103.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
It's not the 110.
And the shock has a hand adjustable shock, not the air shock. Yeah, the upgraded
shock. It's not an air ride, but it's a dial.
Yeah, that's that upgraded suspension.
That's the better than the air suspension. I have that on my Street Glide Special, the manual adjust. Yeah.
I've never even experienced air other than riding a buddies, but never owned anything with an air ride in it or anything like that. But it's great, and I haven't even touched the shocks. You said, "Hey, I did it for you. You guys told me what your weight was, and this is what I recommend." And I haven't touched it, but I've only been riding it 3 weeks. But I went to the rally with it. I rode it the hell out of it. I couldn't be happier.
That's awesome, and we are live, guys. lawabidingbiker.com/live. If you want to experience the live, sign up for the free email list over there. You on that email list, lawabidingbiker.com/live. The only emails you get when we go live, so and we're doing some different things, obviously audio, Periscope, blab.im, some different things. So get over to that page, and that's aside from the regular email list. That's just the live, and that's where we're getting some of these questions in the live chat room. We got the audience in there, and it's just awesome. Is there any more, Jake, any other questions that we should throw at Matt before we move on?
I don't think so. He did a really good job of thoroughly explaining that experience.
Always. I do have a question for Matt Pass. Matt Pass, do you have the number one sexiest, sleekest, strongest motorcycle cell phone mount on your bike right now on your brand new Harley Davidson?
I do not.
Oh my God. We have got to get you hooked up. That's right. We are talking about the biker gripper, guys. That's right. And so knowing about them a little bit, what would be your model of choice of the biker gripper? Do you like we're going to send Matt Pass a free biker gripper for being such a sport and always within a day's notice coming up to via Skype and chiming in and helping the community. And he's in the Facebook page. And so do you like the universal handlebar mount? Do you have stock bars on it?
I have stock bars.
Control mount.
Control mount then.
Chrome control mount because he's got all that chrome.
That is what's best. Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with the bars on this for a little while.
Okay. So we will send Matt Pass a brand new spanking biker gripper cell phone motorcycle mount. And I think I've got your address. Obviously, we won't do it over here, but I'll hook up with you. That is right, guys. Roll right. Oh, that's the wrong. That's the wrong.
Those controls are all chrome on that CVO, aren't they? All the switches, housings, and everything.
It is. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Well, definitely a chrome model then, and I will get that out to you guys. That is right. Get your biker gripper too, guys. The sexiest, sleekest, strongest cell phone and GPS motorcycle mount on the market. Selling like crazy. Tons of positive feedback in the store. Use it to mount your cell phone, GPS devices, radar detectors, EFI tuners, toll transponders, and so much more. That's right. Tried and tested by the law-abiding biker crew for several years. We believed in it so much, we finally just said, F it. We stamped our logo.
Mushroom stamped it.
Mushroom stamped it. Our approval.
I just want to explain to everybody what that is.
Nope. If you know, you know. If you don't, Google it.
That's a for those who know statement.
Just Google it. That's right, guys. Get your biker gripper. Don't buy all the junk out there, guys. Seriously, we've seen the junk, and it sucks to put your money into something that's going to break like that. The biker gripper is available exclusively in the Law-Abiding Biker store. You can choose from several different models, as you just heard: chrome, black and chrome, universal. You can do a control mount. Anyways, everything you need to know is at lawabidingbiker.com/store. Go find the Biker Grippers there. We have videos explaining the exact model. There's tons of pictures in true law-abiding biker style. You'll know exactly what you're getting. And fortunately, my lovely wife is such a sport that she works full-time too, and she's running that store now on the side. And that's our first item, and we hope to bring others to you guys. Only things we deeply, deeply believe in that are not junk, made in the USA. That thing is CNC machine. So awesome. You're the proud new owner, not only of a Harley Davidson, Matt Pass, you're the proud new owner of a Biker Gripper.
Hey, I'm happy to HD welcome me back with open arms. They were really great, and if you don't mind, I just want to give the sales guy one more credit and something that he was excited about to mention if I could, and if it's okay with you, Ryan, I'd like to do that.
Please do. The floor is yours.
Perfect. So the sales guy you need to go see, and he's a really good cat. He's about my age. His name is Tommy Bauer, so that's who you need to go see over at Sacramento Harley Davidson. He can even do orders over the phone and quote you over the phone. He's that good of a salesperson to where he will sell you a bike in Milwaukee from California. Not only that, Sacramento Harley Davidson does do events every Saturday from 11 to 2, whether it's nachos, dollar beers, raffles, what have you. I will be there this Saturday between 11 and 2 myself, giving them some props and, probably buying some parts for the new HD. So go see Tommy Bauer over there and go see Mark over in finance as well. He'll take good care of you. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate you letting me do that.
No, and I appreciate it. I love getting information like that when they treat us right. You never know when you're going to be on the Law Abiding Biker podcast, so beware. But they got a good plug. You don't want to be the bad plug guy, so...
No, I don't want to be the bad plug guy. No, they took care of me, man. That was they even when I went into service. A lot of stuff they didn't have to do. Even detailing the bike for me. Do you believe that?
Jake's a butt plug.
No, geez.
Butt plug.
Jake has been fairly quiet, but he's going to pipe right up here. We want to thank these guys, and then we're going to move on to a real quick street vibrations, I should say. These people are donators, guys. That's right. They didn't donate organs, but they donated money to the Law Abiding Biker podcast. And of course, we love the patrons, and they get the benefits and the Facebook group and shirts and things like that. And as you can see, a Biker Gripper in this case for being on the show. All right, we want to thank these people. lawabidingbiker.com/donate. Roll, Jakey.
I'd like to thank Dale, Ryba of Raleigh, North Carolina. James Penry of, is that Fairhope, Alabama?
Fairhope.
And Tori Bowers of Ladson, South Carolina.
That's right, guys. lawabidingbiker.com/donate. We thank each and every one of you. Your help putting a little fuel in the Law Abiding Biker gas tank so we
can keep on moving on down the road.
That's right, guys. And so we're never going to balk at a donation. Of course, we always try to do the patron thing, but my God, the donations have also helped us so much along the way. So Matt Pass just went. He posted this in the private patron-only Facebook group, and we've talked about it. And I've got right here, guys, a link directly to his photo album, and I'll pull it up on the screen for you all there. And he's got some awesome pics. So why don't you tell us, Matt, a little bit about Street Vibrations. It was September 23rd through the 17th, 2015. And tell us just a little bit in a nutshell before we get to our main topic, what that's all about and your thoughts on Street Vibrations in Reno and Virginia City, Nevada.
Yeah, no problem. So Street Vibrations is something that happens twice annually. So there's a spring rally and there's also a fall rally. The spring rally is the smaller of the two. I actually enjoy that one a lot more. Strictly for a lot of different reasons. You have the same vendors and not as big of a crowd. And when I say not as big of a crowd, I mean on the weekends, a little too wildcats, if you know what I mean. So it's a lot of good law-abiding bikers that go to the spring rally. Not that there's a lot of turds or anything for the fall, but you get a different mixture in the fall rally. But I go to both every single year. So what's great about Street Vibrations is there's two large Harley Davidson dealers there, Chester Harley Davidson in Reno, and then the larger and the more eventful of the two, actually, and this is strictly by experience, is Carson City Harley Davidson. They had and always have everything, whether it's motocross riders jumping and doing flips in the air. They got people on sport bobs and street bobs doing all kinds of wheelies and stuff on HDs. It's amazing. They got vendors. They got poker runs. It's great. And what's great about Street Vibrations is it's right there in the middle. I mean, you're right there by Lake Tahoe. You got some of the best riding on the West Coast right freaking there. So if you want to kind of go to like a mini Sturgis, that's what you're going to find in Street Vibrations. You can make it in a ride even from where you guys are at, from a little bit farther east or from farther south. It's right there. But Virginia City is the real party part of that whole thing. So Virginia City is the largest historical landmark in America. So it's not a ghost town. It's a historical landmark. It's preserved like a tombstone or like a deadwood. But it's huge. It's got over 700 miles of silver tunnels underneath that you can tour. Not all 700 miles, but you get the idea. You can go in a mine. You can ride the old mining train. It's awesome. You park, and those are what you'll see in the photos. You see all the Harleys lined up against all these old saloons. So it's almost like you step right back into the West. It's like a deadwood. It's really cool. So they do the Virginia City portion of the rally. That's where you're going to see your beads. That's where you're going to see your wild times. That's where you're going to see
boobies,
and that's more
pasties,
boobies.
Yeah, that's the part. That's the part you don't take the kids to. You don't take them to Virginia City, So it's not disgusting the whole time, So for anybody out there looking for a good, clean time, you'll find it there as well. But it is really crazy. It gets really fun. And they even do ghost tours at night, and you can scare each other. It's a lot of fun. So the fall rally is the big one, and the spring rally is the smaller one. The spring rally is always around June, always in June, and the fall rallies always in September. If not the very, very tail end of August, but they usually don't do that because it interferes with Sturgis, and you got your same vendors there. So I know I'm missing some details, but I know we want to move on to our main topic. But that's pretty much Street Vibrations in a nutshell. Some gorgeous riding, some gorgeous historical landmarks, 2 great Harley dealers, and more. I mean, it's great.
And do you know when, if you don't off the top of your head, do you know when 2016, is it always the same September 23rd-ish?
It's the month is always the same, but the spring rally for 2016 is going to be June 3rd through the 6th.
Okay.
If I'm right, I know it starts on June 3rd. They haven't released fall rally yet.
That's what I thought, because I couldn't find it. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. So it's cool. I mean, if you guys ever get the chance, I mean, it would be worth coming out for. I mean, if you could swing it, it's not too far of a ride, but I mean, it still would take some logistics. So, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh, we will be.
You know what? I do remember what I was going to mention. Virginia City is also the place where they're not really strict on colors. So you're going to see all walks of life in Virginia City during the fall rally and all kinds of colors. But I've never seen an issue in Virginia City. There's never been your really large, OMGs. But you do see a lot of clubs in Virginia City. Reno put a stop to that a while back because of the shooting in Sparks right outside of Reno not too long ago. I think it was 2010 or 2011. And that put a lot of damper. So the rally is no longer in Sparks. But the city's really strict, which keeps it good, fun, and family. They have face painting for the kids, balloons. I mean, you name it. You go figure that Reno would be the place you would actually take kids to. They don't allow the boobies things on the streets. They don't allow the pasties. Everything's held in a beer garden. You want to party and have that kind of good time, you go to VC, you go to Virginia City. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that to everybody. So
good info.
Off the soapbox. Off the soapbox.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Good information. And we will hit Street Vibrations. It's on the bucket list. Of course, each year we do some main big thing, or I might even make it down there. Eventually, we will meet up in person. And so, yeah, that'd be an awesome one.
You going to arm wrestling?
Yeah.
I am not arm wrestling because
maybe Popeye could.
That wouldn't go well for me at all. I'm pretty sure that would not go well for me.
You'd lose an arm.
I'm pretty sure. So let's move on to our main topic, guys. And I guess we've had a lot of topics today, but this is kind of a cool one. I mean, I guess I knew we weren't going to spend a ton of time on it, but I want to go do a round table and kind of talk. So that is the main topic, Outlaw Chronicles, Hell's Angels. It was on the History Channel, and everybody's putting up sound bites, and this soundbite has since been taken down. It got flagged on YouTube, so I can't even do that, but it was on History Channel. It did play August 18th through September 22nd for a whole 6 episodes, and actually in the private, or you probably texted me, actually, yeah, you texted me, Matt Pass, and told me about the show, so I appreciate the community doing that, and Matt Pass has always been good about that, about just giving me a heads up. Because I am so busy with the regular LEO job. And then, like I've told you guys in the past, like 16-hour days on this, I don't watch TV. I don't pay attention to that stuff. And so I literally would have let this slide right by. And so I do want to know about topics and shows that are of interest to you guys, especially shows. And so because of that, I hit the old DVR. Actually, Lurch set it up for me because we were having a lab work day when Matt Pass actually texted me about it. Matt was over, we were filming. And so we came up that evening and set the DVR and watched the first episode together. And then since then I've caught up. Jakey's watched it, and I assume Matt Pass has watched all 6. So we're just going to go around house. You want to talk a little bit about this guy and what you know? And like I say, in the past, Matt Pass has a lot of information and experience because he's down in the sunny California area, and there's lots of biker clubs down there. So tell us a little background on this show and what's going down, brother.
Well, I mean, one thing I will hand to the show is, from a biography standpoint, on a background of who George is, they did a fairly decent job. I mean, it would be kind of difficult to go on the camera and say, "Hey, this is who I am." When, I mean, the days of background checks are, $5.99 on Google. So there's a lot that got left out, but I guess you would have to be a really big fan of someone to really know exactly what they left out and details throughout their life. So if anybody hasn't seen the show, if anybody didn't know who he was or hadn't seen the show, basically, George Christie was a 35-year veteran, president of the Hells Angels in Southern California, Ventura. He started off in the LA chapter and moved the club to Ventura after a few things happened to, I'll just say what the show said, to get out from under the thumb and scrutiny of law enforcement in Los Angeles. So they moved the club over to Ventura, or that chapter, over to Ventura, and where he was the president for a very, very long time. Gained a lot of popularity. The rumor goes, and I guess the story has evolved in general of who he is, that he was a number 2 to Sonny Barger, who is the most popular Hells Angel. Everybody knows that. But that's basically, in a nutshell, without going into further detail, of who George Christie is. This was his biography. He since quit the club in 2011. And I won't get any details. I'll kind of let you guys speak on that and what your opinions are and things like that. But basically, at any rate, he did leave the club, gave up that, I wouldn't say so much that lifestyle, because he claims he didn't give up so much the original lifestyle, but he did give up the patch. He decided that he was no longer going to be a part of the club anymore or a leader in the club anymore, and parted ways in 2011. And according to George, they have since said, hey, you were out good. And for anybody who's not familiar with MCs, if you're out good, it means, hey, you can still socialize, you can still hang around, you're basically a retired member. When you're out bad, it means you get no contact. So according to George Christie in his biography and what he said about himself, he left the club. It was good standing. The club then decided, no, now we've decided you're out bad. And so he is now telling his side of the story. I didn't want to go into too much details. Hopefully that was a good general basic recap there of who this guy was and what the story was about.
No, that's perfect, because that gets the audience up to speed. And if you haven't seen it, guys, you can go back. It's on the History Channel. The links will be in the show notes, lawabidingbiker.com/ and the episode number. Always get you all the links and the show notes, because that's how we roll for you guys. We're taking notes for you, so you don't have to. And so great overview, Matt Pass. And then we're going to do a round table here with Lurch and stuff, and you guys chime in, Lurch and Jake, anytime you want on this. Jake's up to par on the show. So Matt Pass is right. Longtime president of Ventura, George Christie, is what this show is based on. And he was actually the longest serving president in the HA history. There has been no longer serving president. So, and he is out in bad standing now. There's a lot of stuff going on here. I have my opinions about it. So for discussion purposes, I'm just going to, and then you guys can I have a lot of opinions about it. And Jakey's shaking his head over here. So Jakey, why don't you know what? You've been quiet over there in the corner. I don't know what you're doing there, actually, sitting there.
I'm glad I see what it is that you're seeing over there.
Oh God, I'm not going to turn the camera for you. Okay. Jakey, give us your overview, and what are you thinking here? You got smoke coming out your ear, so I know the gears are turning. Go.
Well, I guess with this show, it kind of reminded me of that That one we talked about, the Gangland Undercover with the Vagos.
Did it remind you of that? Because it was a different format.
Oh, a totally different format. I understand that, but we're getting one guy's view, and it's the one guy's side of the story here. And I guess when I watched it, it was extremely entertaining. It was more documentary format than the other one was, but it was such his viewpoint of what happened, and how he definitely downplayed any wrongdoing or anything that him or the club might have been associated with. He'd kind of admit it, that certain things were going off, but I just thought it was funny. One of the very first things he talked about, how they weren't a criminal organization, but one of the very first memories he has of being in the club is basically of witnessing the president commit a violent robbery, just to prove the point of a guy couldn't wear a black vest. But a violent robbery and assault. It's not like, he was involved in criminal activity from the day one. And then it just back and forth. Oh, yeah, we're not criminals.
That didn't set off any alarms for him, apparently.
Yeah, apparently not. So, yeah, it's just like, when he talked about how they were always the victims and it was a big conspiracy with law enforcement against them. I mean, it's definitely his point of view. And I thought that was, I don't know, very interesting. It really brought, I think, an insight to me, and maybe that's how they all actually think.
I think so, because he said, this is my story. This is how I remember it. And it seems like he slants it a lot.
Is that while he was on meth and stuff?
Everybody else was doing all this bad stuff, but he wasn't. I mean, he kind of paints himself as more of a good guy, and I never really did anything. In fact, the stuff that I did, I got caught up in. It wasn't my fault. So he tries to paint himself as a pretty good dude, although he admits that there are members in the club that do illegal activity, but that's on their own. It's not sanctioned by the club.
And that's how you stay out of RICO charges, by saying shit like that.
Yeah.
And we never talked about it during a meeting. And if somebody started to, then we would put a stop to it right now.
And it definitely, by the end of the show, you see that it became down to a struggle between him and Sonny, who was going to be the big cheese of this organization. And Sonny won out and George didn't. And so it seems like the club sided with Sonny, and George just kind of went by the wayside.
Right.
Yeah. And so
I think he's a little bitter about it.
Yes, I agree. And he's got a bone to pick. And
in fact, I saw something he allegedly put on his Facebook recently. It says, when does a club become a cult? When they fear their members leaving and feel compelled to destroy them with intimidation and false statements.
So I read that too.
Yeah, so the club's turned on him, I think, since he's come out and is talking ill of their famed leader.
Yeah.
He's just kind of went by the wayside, it seems
like.
Yeah,
he didn't have much good to say about Sonny Barger at all. He clearly was not a fan of him.
Yeah, and let me preface this, and we got some good points coming up here. There's going to be a great discussion. Let me preface this by saying, as we've said in the past, we've done multiple episodes on the Texas shooting. We've done other OMG stuff. In no way are we promoting the 1%er lifestyle, nor do we agree with it, nor do we hang out anybody that is involved with that kind of activity. I also am very open-minded when it comes to that, and I will tell you that we're not sitting here saying that the Hells Angels or anybody else every single one of them is a bad person. In fact, that would be very ignorant on our part. We do know, and it's clear even from this very documentary, that there are factions and people within these clubs. And so you hear that a lot. I met a guy and he was really nice. Okay, yeah, but you don't really hang out with him all the time. You don't really know what he's doing. And yes, unfortunately, it is in the club. And what I've always stuck to is, and Matt Pass was on the last one that he actually asked me this question. And I said, you are guilty by association, unfortunately, because even though you may not be doing it, it's going on and you're supporting it. And so unfortunately, that's the world we live in. So in no way are we judging anybody or saying that all people that are in 1%er clubs are just the evilest people in the world. We're not. That would be very, very ignorant. And unfortunately, there are law enforcement officers that believe that, like one of them that was interviewed
the reserve deputy.
The reserve deputy. What's his name?
His name is Jorge Galblanco.
Jorge. I don't know what his complete background is.
Alameda County, right?
San Mateo.
I don't think he has a very good reputation amongst law enforcement, honestly.
From what we know of other LEO clubs that are in his area of responsibility, he speaks very ill of LEO clubs at gang conferences and whatnot.
He's brainwashed about everybody who wears a 3-piece patch is just the biggest shithead in the world, and he's just brainwashed, and that's his world. And Yeah, I've read some really not great stuff about him and heard some not so great stuff about him, but whatever, we're not...
Your actions reflect on you, not necessarily the clothes that you wear.
Right, exactly. And so we would be just as ignorant to do what some law enforcement officers do for us to sit here and say every 1%er is a murderer and a drug addict, because that's not true. It does exist in those clubs. We know that. We know from arrest records, period. So let's just preface it with that. Fair?
Fair.
I do think that based on even what he was saying, though, it's clear that's very violent culture.
Oh, yes,
I mean,
yes.
even their parties,
it can happen anytime.
It's all about, even amongst themselves, they're, how they show class. They always talked about that are doing something.
Constantly checking each other's mud, as he said.
Checking the mud, setting a guy on fire when he fell asleep. I mean, all kinds of crazy
It's a lifestyle of paranoia.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just paranoia. Who's ratting on who? And I always like how they think, and sorry, Matt, chime in anytime, but I always like how even this show and also the last one that History Channel did on the Vagos, I love it how they always talk about, we just knew he was a rat. I knew it. How the fuck did he have the fucking microphone in his cast? It was too late. If you knew he was a rat, you would have called him out. You didn't know. You were suspicious, but no matter how hard you try, there's going to be people that are informants and there ain't shit you can do about it. So get used to it. Go ahead, Matt.
And my favorite is my source from law enforcement.
Yeah.
They always have a source from fucking law enforcement.
Yep.
What they mean to say is my sister, brother's cousin's dad, who's a cop's uncle's detective, told her second cousin, brother's uncle's aunt's twins, unborn fetus baby that there might be an informant somewhere in Florida.
Thank you.
That's the information, okay? And I say that loosely because and like I said in the past, I feel that I can say a little bit more, and I will tread lightly on this whole thing because I live in like the mecca of where this club is located. So I'm going to tread very lightly just because, well, that's smart, right? I'm not afraid to say what's on my mind, but I will tell you this: it cracks me up. The game of telephone and the accusations and it's like this: when you get pulled over and get a speeding ticket. At that point, when you tell somebody you got a speeding ticket, everybody's a lawyer. Everybody's a lawyer. Everyone's going to tell you how to beat it, how to fight it. I heard that this happened, you could do this, and if you took your keys out and set them on the dash, that you could do this. And I just go, who the hell is telling you this shit? Like, moron. Like, what are you doing? So when they say, my source from law enforcement, and I have to tell you, being former law enforcement, having you can't make a phone call to anybody in the family without having a cop answer the phone. And I will tell you that at the end of the day, when they clock out, they are not thinking about anything else other than going home. Okay, and you guys would probably relate to this, emphasize on it more because you live the life. But I don't know. It's just as if there's some secret meeting between law enforcement that they put on their vigilante capes after, and they're still cops after they get off duty, and they're reporting on what they're seeing. And good God, sorry to go off on a tangent.
No, it's great. I love having it.
And that doesn't have to do with anything even 1% related. I would say anybody in any group loves to say, my source on law enforcement, said that we have a rat or we have this, and it's like, who the hell is that? So why don't you tell me your source? Explain it to me in detail. I love catching people on their shit.
Oh yeah,
because they're covered in it.
No, that's awesome, and you're so right. And if they had and my deal is okay, and they all say that. Oh, we just knew he was. No, you didn't, or you would have kicked his ass out. And he came in with a brand new white fucking cast, and you were suspicious about it, but you're still too stupid to do anything. So don't say you knew, or you wouldn't got hemmed up on the criminal charges, and he wouldn't be recording you. So I love it. They all say, oh yeah, we just knew from the beginning he was a rat. No, you didn't. Because if you knew he was a rat, he wouldn't be in the freaking club, dude. I just love these guys. They think, I just see some of the arrogance, and somebody brought up that point. He's just a very arrogant individual, this George Christie.
Yeah, he's got a lot of charisma. I mean, he's
well-spoken.
He's well-spoken. He tells a good story. And in that, this is my opinion, but in that circle, if you've got a little bit of intelligence, you got some charisma, you can go pretty far.
Yeah,
and
true.
he was able. I mean, he rose to president after a few years, and he was knocking on the door of being one of the most popular, according to him, people in the HAs. So, whatever.
He's clearly got, like you're saying, he had enough charisma that the History Channel's letting him basically narrate this whole thing. And so, yeah, I could see how he could manipulate and pull people in and get them on board with what he wants. It's, it's clear. He's just very, I'm the best kind of guy.
Well, and speaking of, go ahead, Matt.
No, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt, but isn't that like being friends with somebody in a breakup? You know, if you're friends with that person, they're going to come tell you a one-sided story, and you're going to go, man, that dick, or that bitch, or that. You know, there's two sides of every coin. You know, and you know, I might have said this before. I believe none of what I hear and only half of what I see. That's the way I was raised. I don't know if it's the demeanor in the it's just what I've learned. I literally believe none of what I hear and half of what I see. I listen to shit, and I put it in order of what probably happened, and I make my decision and opinion based on that. Because, you got to take it at face value, I guess. So, anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's awesome. Please, it's hard because you're on Skype, and so it's just a little delayed. We want to get you in here for sure. So, talking about manipulator, he's the ultimate manipulator because now he's manipulating the History Channel. And if you watch some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, all they're doing is they're a bunch of guys, and they're just throwing questions at him. You know how the whole thing's filmed? If you watch behind the scenes.
I saw some of that.
They're just like, hey, George Christie, what's the scariest shit you ever did? And he's manipulating all these people. He's the big Hell's Angel guy, and now he's manipulating. He's got a website. He's gonna write books. He's doing this deal. If you look at his Facebook page and his website, he's got Hollywood media companies running that website. I did some backtracking. He is totally, basically, like you say, disgruntled, and he's pissed off. And this is the only way he can make money now is to try to exploit his experience. Not that Sonny didn't exploit the shit out of it too for years, you know. So
he did.
I guess he deserves a chance to exploit the hell out of it too. It's all commercialized now, anyways.
I think it's funny how he tells his stories too, because like we talked about how he downplays everything. How, he didn't agree with the whole bombing campaign. When they're having that part.
Right.
Then he talks about one incident where he was actually part of going and getting a bomb that didn't go off. But of course, it wasn't his idea. He was just trying to just keep peace. I wonder in reality how much, he's a president of the LA chapter, basically. Don't tell me he didn't have some say or knowledge, at least involvement in what was going on, but he can't incriminate himself. I understand that. But I wonder if people watch that even try to think about that. To me, it was just
probably most of the population know, but people like us on this podcast, yes.
Yeah. He's the president of the chapter. Don't tell me he didn't know what was going on. Bullshit.
Yep. I like how, this is where I say he's a little bit arrogant because he acts like a tough guy and he talks that he was a tough guy, but he never talks about anything he did that was really tough. And I remember one specific thing where they were going after the Mongols during the heat of the battle, and he goes out and I go out with this guy in the car and I've got a sawed off and we're ready to do business. And the order was take down any Mongols and all this stuff. And he goes, and then he blames it on the guy. He goes, we never did because the guy driving, he turned around and didn't want to do it. And he's like, I want to go. Yeah, that's a great story there that the driver bagged out and it wasn't you. And how did he almost do a whole bunch of stuff?
Yeah. And of course, he's not part of a criminal organization, not a criminal himself, but he was actively looking for a Mongol to kill.
Correct. But that's not criminal, apparently, in California.
Well, he didn't admit to any crime.
Yeah.
But at the same time, who's going to go on national TV and say, "Oh, by the way, nobody"?
That's why, yeah.
It's this, and I got to admit, when I was reading over the show notes, I'm really glad to hear you guys' feedback because I thought the show was done very well for specific reasons.
Right.
I think it was a great moneymaker. And I'm a salesman and I'm a capitalist, man. I want everybody to make money, if they deserve it, right? But when I was watching the show, I thought, man, this was done from a marketing standpoint. Sorry if this dang thing's tilting on you there, Ryan, but my camera here. But from a marketing standpoint and a biography standpoint, it was done very, very well. And I think that everything you guys are nailing and hitting on are perfect. The same things that I was thinking too. It's very one-sided, and at the same time, there wasn't anything that I could grab a hold of and go, "Oh man, that right there sounds like complete bullshit." Because a lot of it sounded like bullshit, but it was done really well to a producer's credit. And I know we're talking about manipulating history, but at the same time, I think History Channel ate this shit up.
Oh yeah.
Ate this shit up. What was it? Over 2 million people watched the last episode? Come on. In the days of DVRs and things like that, that's unheard of. The advertisers during those commercial breaks or probably popping champagne bottles. You know, I know because I'm in the industry, right? So I mean, it's I got to tell you, it was done really well, and they drug it out. And if you notice, they kind of they didn't go in order. At one point in the beginning of the show, he was talking about the 70s, and they moved to the 90s and 2011s, and then by episode 4, they were back in the 60s and 70s again. I'm like, well, wait a minute, hold on, we're going backwards, because he had to go back in time and talk about when he first met Sonny. But do you understand what I'm saying? Am I making sense to everybody?
Yeah, I think it's because they were saving that last episode, the Sonny episode, for the end, the big episode.
Do you think that the Hells Angels are pissed at him about this, and there could be some safety repercussions for him?
The thing is,
possibly.
I don't think so, and here's why. I'm just giving you my opinion, then you guys can tell me. I don't think they're pissed. You know why? Although Matt Pass is right.
Getting publicity.
Well, Matt Pass is right.
It wasn't real negative.
It was great commercial. It was great, and they just promoted the shit out of it. They did well. They had a lot of viewers. They had the advertisement. They had the sales. I like the show just because I like motorcycle shows. But you know what? At the end of the day, he didn't say a frickin' thing, and I didn't learn a damn thing that I didn't already know, because he tells just enough for somebody who doesn't know shit about the motorcycle culture. I didn't learn a damn thing. So,
not a damn thing.
So what did he say?
Yeah.
What did he say about the Hells Angels that it is different than Sonny said or anybody else? He's actually given more information than this guy. This guy talked about nothing to me, because Matt Pass knows all this history. You know all the history. We already know all this. So he told me nothing.
He's telling new people that don't know anything. But this is part of the post Sons of Anarchy cash in. Everybody's trying to cash in on a motorcycle show right now because SOA was so popular. So there's been this, Vagos, Mongols, Hells Angels, they're just cashing in. And so these guys are seeing an opportunity. George saw an opportunity to make some money, and he did.
Yeah, and you're right. Like you're saying, I liked the show. It was entertaining. I didn't like him when it was done, but I liked the show. It was very entertaining. And the one other thing I was going to point out, it's kind of a side note, but did you notice how whenever they had people like reenacting, not just pictures or video of old stuff, they never actually had the patch?
Yeah, they did not have the approval to use it.
Yeah, they didn't.
Following that rule.
Yeah, they didn't have the approval, so they were using just plain white.
The real footage,
rockers.
You would see it, but that was real footage that they pulled. But the fake footage that me and Matt noticed, that was all white rockers.
Yeah, with no words or anything.
Again, because they didn't have permission, because they went through that with Sonny. Remember?
Yeah.
Because Sonny did that, and everybody got pissed, and then they said you can't do that in Hollywood, can't be wearing the cut anymore. And so at the end of the day, it was a big smoke show to me.
Yeah.
It was, it was entertainment, and that's what it was meant to be.
Right.
I kind of want to piggyback on your point there, Ryan. So that was my thing too. There wasn't any more information, and I wouldn't see any repercussion coming from this at all, because all the episodes was a recap on every single Gangland Undercover episode I've ever seen, every single Motorcycle Outlaw episode I've ever seen. It all rolled into one little mini series. It didn't even paint them in a huge, horrible light. And maybe there's some of these guys out there going to disagree with me and think, hey, this guy should shut his mouth. But at the same time, if you really think, they did more to glorify the outlaw lifestyle of drinking, boozing, partying, and living slightly above the law. We might speed a little bit. Yeah, some of us do drugs, but who doesn't? Everybody does that shit. There was more glorification than there ever was anything negative to reflect on them. And that's I'm trying to be as neutral as possible. Honestly, if I didn't know anything about OMGs or the biker community in the world, I would just go, you know what? They're outlaws because they live slightly outside the law. They like to party. They like to drink. Some of them are drug addicts, but you can't control everybody. This is the opinion that I would have. And in fact, my girlfriend knew absolutely nothing. She's watching. She goes, so okay, well, why are there drug raids? Why are there these? Why are they? She didn't get it, because all she really knows was what she had seen. So I got to tell you, if it did anything, it's going to help them in a decent, glorified outlaw outlook. My opinion. That's my opinion, and and honestly, if I was one of them, I would actually enjoy my opinion. Because I don't think it painted them in a huge negative light at all. It was a huge advertisement. Huge advertisement, I think. I don't know. What do you guys think? That's my opinion.
Well said.
I don't think you're that far off.
Yeah, I agree. He never, the things that he named names on was never, this guy killed someone. It was, he talked about situations and things like that, unless it was somebody that had already been convicted. And so, yeah, you're right. He probably didn't go out there and really do anything too awful bad.
No, Matt Pass, you nailed it on the head. That was well said, man. You really summed it up. It did glorify him. And they're not going to be pissed about anything because it's nothing new that wasn't already out there. The only thing they'll be pissed about, it always comes down to the almighty dollar. And they're going to be pissed that he's making money and they aren't. And he's making money technically off the name, even though he didn't give anything away. You know how it is, dude. It's all about money. Yeah. And they're going to be pissed that he's cashing in. And they want a book. Everybody wants a book that's a former OMG guy.
You know, Sonny Barger might be pissed, though.
He probably will because he's taking some money off him because he's the Hollywood guy. He always did. That's why those guys didn't get along because they both wanted to kind of, be in power, so to speak, on that. But yeah, well said. What else? Let me look over my notes here I've been making. At the end of the day, I think he's just like you say. I think he's bitter. He's out bad, and he's got to do something to make a little money. And he's, like I said, look at his website and stuff. It's definitely, he's pimping himself out to Hollywood, seeing what kind of deals he can get. Has he written a book yet? Do you guys know?
It's in the works right now, from what I've read.
It's in the works. That's what his website says. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it was, I won't be reading it. I'll tell you that right now because it's going to be just like the show. His stories and his remembrance of things. So,
well, you guys had, I don't remember who there that said he's only reporting on stuff that people were already convicted and stuff. But I think the reason that sells is if I can go get a popular children's story and read it online all day long and record it and try to sell it. But if the author was to read that same story, that's going to be huge. That's going to be a huge book signing event. That's going to be a huge event. The story is still the same. It's not a new story. It's the same story that was been told for the past 10 years. But if the author or the author's son or daughter or whoever the story was written about goes and reads the book and tells the same exact story, for some reason it's new. And I think that we've all come to the conclusion that there's nothing new here. There's nothing new that was uncovered, and there's nothing new that will be in the books. It's just going to be somebody else telling it. And it makes it more fun, I guess, that the person who lived it is telling it, I guess. I don't know. It's already been reported on. I mean, I don't know. You can go read it yourself now. Go look at all the arrest records, I guess.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, you can Google most of this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. What else, Jakey? Let's go roundhouse, and then we're going to close out. You got anything, last words about this show? I say go watch it. My opinion, entertaining. You've heard my opinions. Take it at face value, just like we did. I honestly say the last thing I want to say, if I had to pick between the Vagos one, which was before, right, Matt? The Vagos one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I got 2 yeses from both Matts.
Sorry,
I like
you
it.
got
No,
two
I love it. So,
Sorry.
So it's awesome. It was in stereo. So if I have to choose between the Vagos one and this one, and you tell me if they had to choose. And the Vagos one, what was it called? Gangland Undercover?
Yeah, it was what was his name?
I can't remember. We did an episode on it.
We did. I think I was in on that one.
Go
too.
search Vagos in the Law Abiding Biker site and you'll come up with that History Channel thing. But anyways, if I had to choose between both, I choose the Vagos one. And here's why. They're both full of shit. They didn't teach me a damn thing. They didn't teach me a damn thing I didn't know. But at least the Vagos one, they just fessed up and made it a freaking Hollywood show movie. And I knew neither of them are true to the fullest extent. And so why not at least be entertained? And I have to say the other one entertained me more because I knew it was just full of shit. This played it off like a little bit like it was supposed to be real, but I know it was just as much full of shit. They had actors in the other one and stuff. And so if you're not going to tell me the truth and if you're just going to entertain me, then just entertain me. That's my opinion. What say you, Jake?
I have the exact same opinion. Both were entertaining. And if I had to pick my favorite, it was the Vagos one. I just looked it up as Charles Falco.
That's right. Charles Falco.
Based on his recollection.
Based on his.
The great thing was just add actors and make it entertaining to me if you're not going to tell me the truth anyways.
The only thing I would say is after I watched it, like I said, I was entertained. But by the time it was over, I hate to say it, I had a pretty strong dislike for this guy. He just, to me, seemed like just a smarmy, lying, manipulating guy. And I'm just like, I don't want to look at him anymore.
Well said. I agree. I have the same feelings towards him. Lurch, what say you?
I say they were both total pieces of crap, and I'd rather watch a fictional Sons of Anarchy episode.
Right. Yeah. I agree. If we're putting Sons of Anarchy, I'd rather just watch True Hollywood.
They're just entertainment. All three of them are entertainment. I'll stick with a completely bullshit entertainment one.
I agree. What say you, Matt Pass?
I'm going to have to go with the 22 Green episode. I'm going to have to go with the Vago episode. It was definitely more entertaining, and I think that everyone likes a story of recovery and turnaround. And to this day, Charles Falco is still going around saying that he was a turd. He decided not to be a turd, and now he's not a turd anymore, and he's trying to do his part to be his own vigilante and things like that. So, and honestly, the Christian in me wants to say honestly, and if that's the truth, and unfortunately, I still got that other mentality where it's like, you know what, no one ever really fully recovers, and I'm working on that personally inside here. But if that's true, and he's really turned things around, I'm gonna say God bless him and good for that, and that's a better story for me to hear than what I watched on Outlaw Chronicles, the Hells Angels. But it was super entertaining, and I honestly do believe that a lot of what he told probably is his truth. That is his truth. He left a lot of crap out, and I know when I'm being fucking lied to at the same time. But at the same time, it was great marketing, and that's his truth. And he made money doing it, and I can't knock him for that. I mean, he whatever. I mean, and then one thing I wanted to ask you, and if this drags on the show, I get it, but do you think at all, because somebody asked me this, he's doing it because he wants more protection?
Interesting.
I didn't know if that was
That's a good point, actually, because now he's so well known. If he gets knocked off, they're going to know who to look at. That's one thing. You're
right. Plus, if he's starting to make Hollywood money, he can have a little protection around him, hire a little protection around him, huh?
Yeah, that's what somebody asked me. They said, well, maybe he's doing it because he's getting death threats, and and I don't know. That's all speculation and assumptions, but it's still fun to talk about. Who knows? That's a fun story.
Yeah, no, that is, and I don't think, honestly, I don't think that's the last we're going to hear from George Christie. That's for sure. Matt Pass, thank you, brother, for being on. We're going to stay on. We're going to close it out here, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. God, that was a full episode of all kinds of useful information, guys. All right, guys, call to action today. Our Amazon affiliate link. Don't forget it. You want to support us out there, Bikeaholics? I know you do. There's another way to support us, guys. That's right. The one online market you can get almost anything is Amazon, guys. And every time you're on Amazon, we don't care if you're buying, if Lurch buys panties. Sometimes he buys pens.
Extra large pennies, though, so that I can wear them when I'm by myself.
Suppositories.
It puts the lotion in the basket.
It puts the lotion on the skin.
It does what it's told.
Yeah, guys, anything you buy on Amazon, it doesn't matter what it is, you can help us out, guys, by using our Amazon affiliate link, lawabidingbiker.com/Amazon. Just go there, lawabidingbiker.com/Amazon, and then just bookmark that as Lab Amazon or whatever. Every time you hit that, it will take you to Amazon via our affiliate link. That's right. No additional cost to you. That's right. We do get a small kickback for any purchase that you make, and that's been going very well for us, guys. And you don't even have to think about it if you just bookmark it. And all your Christmas shopping coming up and all that, guys. What's our Lab podcast phone number, Jake? What is it?
509-731-3548.
That is 509-731-3548.
Very, very nice. Or leave an internet voicemail anywhere in the world right from your computer at where, Jakey?
It's going to be at lawabidingbiker/voicemail.
Lawabidingbiker.com/voicemail.
He says with self-confidence.
He did. All right, guys, don't forget our general contact page, lawabidingbiker.com/contact. Get into the free email club, guys, lawabidingbiker.com/email club. We email you when we come out with new free videos. All right, guys, really appreciate you sticking out with us, and we'll catch you on the next one, huh? Keep the rubber side down.
And the shiny side up.